Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Magic. What if the most honest moment of a global superstar doesn't happen on a grand stage under thousands of watts of spotlight, but in his private room during a simple live broadcast? Recently, Jungkook's latest live once again sent the fandom into a frenzy. There was no choreography, no script, no spectacular lighting, just him, sitting casually, holding a microphone, laughing, singing, and speaking with a sincerity that felt incredibly close. But behind the laughter and jokes, there was something different. He spoke about honesty, about boundaries, about the desire to share more, while acknowledging the consequences that must be considered. And as always, whenever he touches on something ambiguous, the fandom moves instantly. His words are analyzed and dissected from every angle. Without mentioning a single name, the conversation once again drifted toward a dynamic that never escapes attention. His relationship with Jimin. Is this simply the reflection of an artist growing more mature? Or is there a deeper meaning he is subtly hinting at? Today, we'll discuss it with clear minds, open hearts, and without jumping to conclusions. Because sometimes, what's most interesting isn't the theories, but the calm beneath them. That night felt full of contrast. We're talking about a member of BTS, one of the most influential groups in the world. Yet what we saw wasn't a global superstar. It was a young man in his private space, speaking like an old friend to millions connected from different corners of the world. From the beginning, the atmosphere was light. He laughed, joked, even sang spontaneously. But between those moments, there were deeper reflections about honesty, boundaries, and his desire to open up more to ARMY. Jungkook expressed something he has likely felt for a long time. He wants to be sincere. He wants to share more about his thoughts, his creative process, even his personal struggles. But he also understands there is a fine line an idol must respect, a boundary between what can be shared and what should remain private. He didn't present it as a complaint. There was no tone of blame. Instead, he spoke with maturity. He understands that being a public figure means every word carries consequences. There is public image, contracts, sponsors, and many stakeholders involved in one simple decision: speaking. Yet he subtly hinted that if it were entirely up to him, he might share more. Not because he is forced into silence, but because total openness under extreme scrutiny is not simple. As often happens, ambiguous statements from Jungkook rarely stand alone. Within hours, discussions turned into theories. The words honesty and boundaries connected with long-standing narratives in the fandom. Without any name mentioned, some conversations again pointed toward the dynamic that has been under the spotlight for years. Jikook. Not because there was an explicit confession, not because there was an official statement, but because for over a decade, Jungkook and Jimin's interactions have been among the most analyzed within the fandom. A brief glance, a small laugh, protective gesture, a vulnerable backstage moment. Everything has been slowed down, edited, shared, and reinterpreted. So when Jungkook speaks about the complexity of honesty, some immediately ask, is this about him? About them? Objectively, his mention of significant consequences, even possible financial impact, does open the door to assumptions. In an industry where image is a primary asset, an idol's personal life can trigger wide reactions. Sponsors may hesitate. Contracts may be reconsidered. Business risks are real, but speculation remains speculation. What is often overlooked is a repeating pattern. Every time the Jikook dynamic is discussed, a louder counter-narrative appears, claiming it's all fan service, scripted, or contractual. Yet their closeness is not recent. Since debut, that comfort has been consistent. From backstage to concerts, from emotional scenes to spontaneous interactions that clearly weren't planned. If all of that were acting, we would be saying two people maintained a flawless role for over 10 years, a claim harder to believe. Acknowledging their bond does not mean forcing the conclusion that they are a couple. It means recognizing that their connection is real and deserves respect, whatever form it takes. Ironically, this shows how difficult honesty becomes under extreme scrutiny. Imagine every gesture analyzed, every silence treated as conspiracy. In that atmosphere, honesty isn't just courage, it carries consequences. Amid heated debates online, Jungkook also delivered an important message. His company has never treated him unfairly. He described it as neutral and protective. Management, he said, often considers factors an emotional or impulsive artist might overlook. His message was clear. Do not direct hate toward the agency. He did not position himself as a victim. He acknowledged balance. Debuting with BTS at 15, growing up under cameras and global expectations, that balance was never simple. Interestingly, despite discussing deep topics, the broadcast never felt heavy. He moved from reflection to spontaneous karaoke. He laughed when he missed a note. He joked freely. On stage, we see Jungkook as a polished artist, the result of training, production, and the energy of thousands. In this live, we saw him as an individual. Sometimes he talked about the studio. Sometimes he simply sang casually, without pressure. This closeness is what makes his connection with ARMY feel different. He also shared exciting news. BTS will release a new album titled Arirang on March 20th. The name carries deep cultural meaning, referencing one of Korea's most iconic musical symbols. His excitement felt genuine. The members are proud of the result and can't wait to share it with ARMY. After the release, BTS is planned to begin a major world tour lasting until 2027, a new phase in their journey. But above all announcements, what lingered most was growth. Jungkook is no longer the nervous teenager who debuted young. He is mature. He understands the system. He appreciates the protection he receives. Yet he also wants, gradually, to open himself more. He speaks not from rebellion, but from calm maturity. He knows total honesty under millions of eyes is not simple. But he reaffirmed that his intentions toward ARMY are sincere. In the end, the image that remains is simple yet powerful. Jungkook in a comfortable sweatshirt, microphone in hand, singing between laughter, speaking to millions as if they were right in front of him. No dazzling lights, no dramatic confession, no scandal, just honesty, music, and connection, perhaps stronger than any theory. Maybe that night wasn't about speculation, not about what hides behind the words. It was about someone who grew up under the world spotlight and now chooses to speak with calm maturity. The desire to be honest, yet wise, to be close without losing his private space. And maybe that is the strongest message. Honesty does not always mean revealing everything. Sometimes honesty is about balance. If you believe the connection between Jungkook and ARMY is stronger than any rumor, if you feel sincerity doesn't require dramatic confession, then you understand that moment. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think was the deepest meaning behind that broadcast? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next discussion here on Jikook Magic. See you in the next video.